Hello everybody, happy Monday, or whatever day it is that you're watching this. Today I'd like to present to you my thoughts on Still Wakes the Deep, a narrative horror game that releases tomorrow, June 17th. Right off the bat, it has an amazing atmosphere. The whole game is set on a Scottish oil rig in the 1970s, and you'll be climbing and crawling your way through it to escape and hopefully destroy the strange entity that has come aboard. Now, Still Wakes the Deep is first and foremost a narrative game. It's not survival horror, you don't have an inventory, and you can't fight back. And there aren't any puzzles. So the main gameplay then is walking, climbing ladders, turning valves, and answering phone calls. But thankfully I did find the story compelling and the voice acting is top-notch. I 100% needed to play with subtitles on because have you ever heard Scottish people speak? It's an experience quite unlike any other and made me question whether I'm actually a native English speaker or not. So the intro of the game does a wonderful job of setting the scene. Our character Kaz takes a walk through the rig, talking to some of the people that'll be important later on, and giving us a good look at the size of this place and some of the tensions that have been brewing between workers and management. And then weird things start to happen. Some of our fellow rig workers start acting strange, the power cuts out, and ultimately someone is found dead. This build-up was done very well and had me hooked right from the get-go. I wanted to know what was going on. Honestly though, Still Wakes the Deep didn't really feel like a horror game, more of a thriller with a few more tense moments. Yes, Kaz can die if he's caught by a monster, but sneaking past is pretty easy in these hide-and-seek sections. You can just pick up and throw items to distract the monster and then scamper away. I suppose if you've never played a horror game, then you might have a different opinion on this, and for those people there is a story mode where you don't have to worry about dying at all. I think the big reason that I wasn't really scared is because I always knew whether I was in a monster section or a platforming/walking section. Generally, the two were broken up by a cutscene, so there weren't really any surprise scares where I thought I was safe and then was suddenly being chased by a monster a few seconds later. So long as you don't go into the experience hoping for the fright of your life though, I think you'll enjoy the pacing, story, and atmosphere. The rig is filled with these cramped, claustrophobic passageways, as well as moments where you're dangling over the stormy sea, hanging on to a very small ledge. I also like the way lighting and color were used, especially towards the end of the game, which I won't show here. It created these distinct sections and kept the whole game from looking the same all the way through. Sometimes it was foggy out or stormy, but there was still just enough light to see where I was going. Other times, deep within the structure, it was pitch black and I needed to rely on my flashlight. And there were even a few parts where the sun was trying to peek out from behind the clouds. It's just a great game to look at. About halfway through my playthrough, which was 4 hours in total, things started to drag. I was getting tired of holding the right mouse button to climb ladders and being sent off to pull levers on the other side of the rig. Gameplay does not evolve beyond these few simple actions that are presented to you in the intro. But then the story picked up again, and I enjoyed the ending a lot. More than I thought I would, actually. I know it's cheesy to say, but the voice acting really does bring these characters to life, and I actually found myself enjoying these flashbacks and learning about Kaz's life and how he ended up in the middle of the sea the day after Christmas. Long story short, Still Wakes the Deep was a great experience, aside from gameplay becoming a bit repetitive around the middle. It's not as scary as I thought it'd be, although your mileage may vary depending on your tolerance for dark, tight spaces and flooded corridors. It is a beautiful narrative adventure that brings up some interesting ideas about humanity and how different people react in the face of a crisis. I played through it mostly on medium settings, with motion blur, film grain, and chromatic aberration turned off, and had minimal performance hiccups on PC. If you're looking for a game with a moody, stormy atmosphere, well-written characters, and a story about trying to survive while everything's falling apart, Still Wakes the Deep will be right up your alley. Just try not to slip.